It's tax season, and maybe you've already prepared your taxes. Maybe you're putting them off. Either way, the threat of an audit is something we all should be prepared for. Joining me now to help you prepare for anything the IRS throws your way is Dan Pilla, tax expert and author of the book, How to Win Your Audit. Dan, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, in your book, you talk about something called an economic reality audit. We sent our videographer out to see how many people are familiar with that term. Let's take a listen.
Sure.
Do you know what an economic reality audit is? Have you ever heard of that concept?
No, I haven't.
Economic reality audit. Can't say that I have. I could probably say that I would guess, but I would hate to guess and guess wrong. But I have never, economic reality audit, I have never heard of that, no.
So do you think those two answers are typical of most people? And can you explain exactly what an economic reality audit is?
Well, as to the answers, let's hope the answer is because they haven't been audited and they haven't experienced it. But the fact of the matter is that just about anybody that's gone through an audit is going to experience this aspect of what the IRS is focusing on today, which they haven't done in the past, at least not to this extent. Now, economic reality means very simply the IRS is looking at your tax return, not just from the standpoint of verification. You know, if you claim $5,000 in mortgage interest or charitable contributions, normally the IRS would ask you, okay, prove that. Now what they're asking is the question, do you have the economic capacity to have given that money in the first place? So it's not just a question of did you make the contribution?
Wow.
Do you have the capacity to have made the contribution in the first place? And so what the IRS is doing is more of an investigative audit now, looking at your background, your educational background, your cultural background, your home, your furniture, your fixtures, the type of business that you're in, the trips and vacations you take. In other words, a full picture of your economic substance to answer the question, does this person have the capacity to pay these expenses?
Wow.
And what they're doing is they're finding ways to add unreported income to your tax return as saying, well, you know, your lifestyle indicates that you must be making more money than you're reporting on your tax return, and so we're just going to add more income to your tax return.
Wow. Reading the headlines, we've been reading that the IRS is auditing less because of staffing issues. You say that's not necessarily true.
No, it's not accurate at all. As a matter of fact, the face-to-face audits, which we typically think of a tax audit as a face-to-face situation where you bring your shoebox or your grocery bags full of records down to the IRS office and you sit there and you go through all of this stuff, right? But that's really the smallest, and has been for really decades, the smallest segment of audits that the IRS does. The broader segment is computerized audits, where the IRS uses its computer systems to audit your tax returns, and they do that for virtually every tax return that's filed. So it's obviously more efficient for the IRS to use computers than it is in a face-to-face environment, and that's where the focus is.
Okay. How often do you think the IRS is incorrect or has incorrect information that could lead to an audit?
Well, I'll tell you what, in my book, How to Win Your Tax Audit, I talk extensively about the audit process, how the IRS selects returns for audit, the process that it goes through. And what I show you, what I document in the book from the IRS's own statistics, is that their audit results are wrong between 60 to 90% of the time. So more than 60 to 90% of the time. So more than 50% of the people that go through an audit end up with a determination that's just flat wrong.
Wow, wow. Many taxpayers deliberately avoid taking deductions because that they're entitled to, because they're afraid of triggering an audit. I know when I sit down with my tax preparer, I'm amazed at some of the things you can deduct, and they make me a little nervous.
Sure, that's right, and it's a very common experience, and most people have given up on deductions entirely. Almost 71% of all the tax returns that are filed now are short forms. People aren't claiming any deductions, and that's one of the key reasons why. They think, well, I'm going to paint a target on my chest if I claim this tax deduction, which is absolutely wrong. What I teach you in the book is how to actually audit-proof your tax return so that you can claim the deductions you're allowed to claim. You reduce your tax liability to its lowest legal level. You do it without risk.
All right, we certainly cannot get into every single issue, but you've got the answers here. How to win your tax audit. Dan Pilla, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.